Welcome to the Rethink Leadership podcast with me, Jeremy Blaine. I interview leaders, experts and business professionals from around the world who are bringing leadership principles and know-how into the digitally driven 21st century workplace, with focus firmly on the how-to rather than the what. Each episode is in aid of a charity chosen by my guests, and since 2020, we've made donations to over 80 global and local causes. Welcome to the Rethink Leadership podcast with my guest Peter Farrell, the founder and CEO of Vessa, the AI dining assistant that seamlessly finds and books restaurants tailored to individuals. He's also an ambassador for the charity Hospitality Action, to which we've made a donation as a thank you to him for joining us. Peter's worked in some of the best restaurants and hotels around the world, including 1, 2 and 3 Michelin-starred establishments. All that before launching and running his own street food venture, restaurant and food hall business. But it hasn't all been smooth sailing. From his early passion for food and hospitality to overcoming brain tumours and personal losses, Peter shares his journey of resilience and reinvention and what it takes to be an entrepreneur today. Let's hear more. Peter, thanks very much for joining me. Please introduce yourself, your passions and your journey as a leader.
Hi, Jeremy. Thanks for having me. Great to be on your podcast. So I am a foodie. I've been passionate about food and restaurants since the age of 7, actually. And for some unknown reason, I knew what my career aims, I guess, would be from that age. I've no idea why, really, but I went on to follow quite a structured early career. So I went into education, did a BA and a master's focused on culinary arts and hospitality and the business of hospitality. And then I went into industry. So I was a chef for 10 years, working in some amazing places. I was lucky enough to work in some high-end fine dining Michelin restaurants around the world. And then I flipped to front of house. And then I guess that's where I was leading more people and more of a general management type of role. So again, worked in some great places, worked with Terence Conran in London and again, some Michelin restaurants, and just worked my way up through the industry in that kind of management capacity. And then over the last probably 7 or 8 years, I moved into the business side of hospitality. So I had my own restaurant, my own food hall. I also have a consultation agency supporting a lot of early stage operators. And I guess I'm leading them to some extent or advising them to some extent in their startup journeys and how they grow their individual businesses. And now I've got my own new exciting startup, which is AI focused, but obviously in the hospitality restaurant sector as well. So yeah, I've been around a while. It's I guess all I know, but I've been in the industry about 25 years or so.
Sounds like the pitch for the script of The Bear. When I look at it, worked in these restaurants, set up my own. It's got to be the French service. It's etc. Yeah. Excellent.
Nice.
And then finding yourself front of house and all of those. Tell us a little bit more about the business, because what's great to hear is that as we embrace this increasingly digital world, every industry is being impacted. So what are you doing and what are you working on?
Yeah, so I've always been interested in tech, and I've obviously witnessed the growth of the internet and so many tech solutions. I've been interested in robotics and to one extent potentially helping the crisis in labor in hospitality. And then recently seeing what's happening in the AI space, which I think is just mind-blowing. I've come across some AI agents and tools which are just like crazy. It's phenomenal what it can do, and I really see it as revolutionary in how we all live our lives going forward. So I took the opportunity. I exited my food hall late last year. I took the opportunity to kind of take a structured approach to assessing the whole restaurant experience from end to end. And I believe there's a space for essentially an AI agent or an AI dining assistant that will help users in making the, finding and booking of restaurants more efficient. So at the moment, to find a restaurant, it's very fragmented. You look on Google, the restaurant website, social media, reviews that you don't trust most of the time. And then all of the booking platforms have limitations in terms of just the extent of personalization and also the amount of restaurants they have. So we're, I guess, using the best of technology that's available in AI and developing an AI dining assistant or concierge that will work for users to just make that process more seamless, more efficient, more personalized. And then let's see, it's a wave that's growing in size and speed, and we're just trying to ride that wave and see where we can land with this. But it's exciting. I'm really more on the kind of optimistic, exciting side of things.
Well, I really get that AI concierge, and there's so many different platforms out there to access. If I want to find out about a restaurant, book it. It's lots of third party. It's not consolidated. It's not joined up. It's not about my experience um, per se, So it sounds like this is fantastic and being at the forefront of it. And if I just track back to the 7-year-old you who knew what he was going to do, as you were saying, and you've gone through all of these stages of your career, I'm guessing you've learned a lot. And this is a podcast about rethinking how we work, evolving how we work for the revolutions that you talk about, that you've seen too. But I know that your leadership journey or your self-leadership journey hasn't been easy. We've got to tackle adversity often, challenges there. So what is your story and how has it evolved you as a human being, not just as a leader?
Yeah, sure. So, like everybody has a story, and everybody goes through hardships and um, grievances and so on. So I think these things are important in life, and how you come out of them. I think it definitely shapes you in various ways. So for me, as I said, I took quite a structured approach to growing in my career. So I 10 years as a chef and flipped to front of house, working my way up through senior management. And so at the age of 30, I was in a relatively senior position, working alongside a managing director, kind of felt like I was top of my game, going on to bigger and better things. And I wasn't really thinking of my health at all. I guess as most people don't think when they're 30 and kind of flying high in a way. And then quite suddenly, I started losing my eyesight. So I just opened a restaurant, which was pretty intense. I guess a little bit run down. I didn't really think much of it. But it led to me quite quickly ending up in an eye hospital in London, doing scans, tons of tests. And within, I'd say, 48 hours, they had indicated that potentially there could be something in my head. And that turned out to be actually 2 brain tumors. So one of them was pressing, it was on the front of my brain, pressing my optical nerves, hence why I was losing my vision. And there was another one in the center of the crevice of my head up top. So touch wood, I was very, very lucky in that it's quite curable. The tumor is called germ cell tumor, which is curable through chemo generally, and generally stays away, touch wood. But the process of treatment, and even from the biopsy, which was a brain surgery up through the nose, again, phenomenal technology, but pretty invasive and intense on the body. And then that followed by 13 weeks of chemo, which just destroyed my body and actually had massive impact on me mentally, psychologically, which I didn't really understand and digest until months, if not years after that. So again, luckily I was cured after 6-7 weeks. The tumors were eradicated, which was amazing. And in my head, I was kicking on, like straight back to work. I was still thinking positive and optimistic, and actually tried to go back. And long story short, it's taking me now, it's 10, 11 years since the diagnosis. It took years to recover, and I'm still recovering to some extent, physically, mentally, psychologically, trying to digest everything that happened to me. And the symptoms range from physical aches and pains, massive inflammation all around my body, that impacted, I guess, cognitive ability, massive brain fog, obviously issues with my eyesight and so on. And I could go on. And I'm sure a lot of people who have been through chemo experience similar impacts. But digesting that and dealing with it, and I guess then how you come out of that and how it shapes you as a person, as a leader, and just how you live your life. It really, really changes, I suppose. So for me, how I guess have come out of it differently, I think as a leader, is that I certainly empathize more with people. I think I was quite probably selfish when I was that 30-year-old kind of type A personality, thinking of progress, what's next, growth. I'm now more, I guess, understanding and respectful, appreciative of the people around me, and how we all work together for the common goal, the culture that's been instilled, and how we're all coming together to create this culture. I think are all more at the forefront of my mind when I'm a leader, when I'm working with people. And I obviously I focus more on my health now. My health and my family are genuinely a top priority. And I think it's quite easy to say that for most people. I think we would probably consciously say that, but for me, it took something like this for me to really take action on that and to live my life based on those principles. So it's certainly changed me massively as a leader. I went through some even embarrassing moments kind of coming out of it, and not identifying, not being who I thought I was, and aligning with the identity I thought I had, and just trying to figure everything out and come out the other side. But I believe and I hope I've come out better and stronger in lots of ways. And certainly I would think it's helped me in my leadership journey and helped me as a leader who empathizes and I guess respects and works with people in a closer way.
Yeah, and I think some people can or misunderstand or misconstrue perhaps just what going through what you went through means physically and mentally, but how it can scar you afterwards and how vulnerable that can make you feel as a person, as a leader. And it is those brave ones, I have to say, Peter, like you, say, you know what, I'm getting back on that horse, I'm going to learn. And I've seen things differently. I've seen the importance of people, the importance of understanding, because you just don't know what people are going through, do you? I suppose from that point of view. But some people keep it inside. And we know that a lot of leaders are dealing with it could be medical issues like that, but a lot of mental health issues as well. So what advice could you give other leaders who are experiencing something similar? Maybe a trauma they've been through, maybe something they're struggling with mentally, maybe even don't know where to go next. From your journey, what could you tell them?
Yeah, the key point in the race there is you mentioned a lot of leaders keep it to themselves. A lot of people keep their issues to themselves. And I did exactly that. So when it happened to me, again, it was a positive prognosis. So in my head, I said, I don't need help. I don't want to worry people. I will just deal with it, get it cured, and then I'll move on. And then I might tell people after. So I kind of made up an excuse in my head to, I guess, justify to myself that I didn't need to tell people. But I didn't know at the time that I actually needed help. I needed support. I needed just people to talk to about it so I could digest it myself. I even just general support and help and guidance and a hand to hold, let's say. I think as a leader, to some extent, you have an image to uphold, and you have to, you feel sometimes you need to look strong, you need to look like that invincible, unbreakable leader in inverted commas. So I went through all of that. I did that. I made that mistake, I believe, looking back on it. And it took me years. It took me, I would say, 5-6 years before I actually start reaching out for proper help from psychologists and even a charity who I'm now an ambassador for, actually, called Hospitality Action. They're absolutely amazing, focused on, obviously, supporting people in the hospitality sector. But my number one piece of advice is get help as quickly and as deeply as possible to help you on that journey. because, as I said before, we we make things happen through people. It's not just ourselves. So we need the team around us. And I think if you frame it in that way, that the people are supporting you and you're working together as a team to get over challenges and barriers and just issues, you'll come out quicker and better at the other side. So I think reach out if you're not feeling great or if you've got significant health battles or whatever it might be. I think just getting the right people around you as quickly as possible is definitely my number one piece of advice.
That's great advice. And as you were talking there, it's for me, I've written things down like leave your armor at the door, leave your ego at the door, get help early, and embrace what others can give you and accelerate as far as that journey goes. But it's so hard for some leaders to do that. And Hospitality Action sounds like an absolutely wonderful organization stroke charity, and we'll make sure that we make this episode in aid of that charity, so we'll put a little donation in there as well, on behalf of you. So now we've heard about the sort of the personal you. I want to go back to the entrepreneur you and the digital world, leading entrepreneurship in a digital world. And if you just take a step back from what you're doing and you understand as a leader the importance of digital, the need for learning it before we kind of stepping into it, what are those new skill sets that you see out there that leaders everywhere need to adopt to drive their own personal growth and therefore accelerate their business?
Yeah, good question. I think super relevant to the world we live in today. For me, I think agility and speed of adoption. I think the speed of change and even the extent of change, like how widely and deeply things change, is crazy. It's almost impossible to keep up with the rate of change. So I think the winners over the next 10, 20 years and beyond would be those who can continually adopt at that pace to find out what is working in the market or in society, and to adopt with people and with employees as they go through their lives. It's not just their work lives, but how they adopt their lives with these new technological advances. So I think you have to be more kind of all-encompassing in terms of your focus and how you adopt and how you manage and lead change within your team. And I think just keeping up to speed with those elements that are relevant to your business and to what you're doing, I think is imperative. And I guess the other part of that is, I guess, forecasting what will happen. So I think doing your research, reading, keeping an open mind, and then trying to predict the way the world is going, technology, the whole employment structure, and so on and so forth. I think trying to continually predict the next 3-5 years is becoming increasingly difficult, but it's imperative. And again, those who do it well will succeed, in my opinion.
Yeah, they make a lot of sense there. That speed being the competitive currency of today. And that's as much about ourselves and what we're learning as about how we can do it with others and drive the business forward to keep up to date, to predict and even prescribe our own future at some points. I'm going to put you on the spot though. So how are you practicing what you've just told me as a leader?
So for me, again, launching my own AI startup, it's me jumping into that AI wave. I guess to an extent, didn't jump on the wave of the internet. The internet was just taking off when I was, I guess, 14, kind of teenager years. And I saw what was happening, but I didn't have the foresight to really understand that it was going to be as revolutionary as it was. And I went into my passion, which was amazing, and I'm very happy I did. But I didn't ride that wave to an extent. So I guess I have a bit of an itch to ride this wave, which I really believe now is going to be equally, if not more, revolutionary in terms of human beings, how we live our lives and how we work and teams and everything. Really, I think it's going to be completely revolutionary. So I have made a decision late last year to now fully jump into that, but obviously related to the restaurant sector, which is what I know. It's still my passion deeply. And I want to make it easier for people to find and book restaurants. So it's helping the restaurant sector, but it's also using the best of tech. And we aim to be very agile. We've set this whole business up to be agile and to continue to evolve as the new technology emerges. So hopefully we're living it. Hopefully we'll survive and we grow something with this business. And yeah, if we can take a piece of that wave, I'd be very, very happy. But my aim is to really focus now on being part of this AI revolution, and then let's see where we go.
Well, the other really important element that is implicit there in what you've said is that it starts with the customer. Let's make our customers' lives easier in the hospitality and food service industry so that it helps our industry, because we're not doing ourselves favors. So let's embrace these new technologies to do so. Is that fair?
100%. I really believe that we're going into a hyper personalization phase now. I think AI gives us that ability to adopt services, products, and so on to individuals at a deep level. And then the AI will continue to learn and go deeper, even be able to predict human moods and future purchase habits and so on. Obviously, it's I guess, like any progress and developments, there's pros and cons. We got to be careful with privacy and data protection and so on, rightly so. But the technology is there now to really understand humans at a deep level and to be able to then adopt product, services, etc., to that individual. Whereas before, I feel it was more business to consumer, the business with an offering, and then presenting it to maybe a target demographic, but it was still very, very wide. And obviously, businesses to grow, they want to develop bigger and bigger markets, but they essentially tar everybody within that market with the same brush. I think it's now going down to individualization and personalization at that level. And that's the times we're moving into, I believe. And again, technology is there for that.
And I love the term, the hyper personalization. You can just imagine in that industry what that could do. I'm just thinking myself as a customer, it's just wow, that giving me that opportunity to be much more proactive with my service providers or where I'm going, or for them to anticipate what I want, what I need, whatever it is, add different value that perhaps they don't even do now. So Peter, look, thank you so much for joining me. We've scratched the surface of this conversation, I know, and there are two parts of the conversation we've had today. There's that personal journey and the personal journey that some leaders are going through to cope with this pace of change, as well as what they're dealing with, whether it's medical, mental, whatever. And then there is the leaders in the world of AI and what that means. So I'm sure those tuning in, many will want to get in touch, continue the conversation. How do they do that?
Yeah, absolutely. So my new AI business is called Vessa, so Vessa. Website's vessa.ai. And I am on LinkedIn. So you'll find me, Peter Farrell, on LinkedIn. We also have a consultation agency supporting early stage hospitality businesses, which is called foodmotionnetwork.com. So you can find me on any of those platforms.
Right. Well, thank you very much for sharing your personal story, but also demonstrating that huge resilience and drive to be at the forefront of the industry that you're in, pioneering new technology for the benefit of your customers and the consumers everywhere across the industry. So fantastic message for everybody tuning in. Thank you, Peter.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Jeremy.
Thanks for tuning in to the Rethink Leadership podcast with me, Jeremy Blaine. Please like, comment and support us on your favourite platform and subscribe to our YouTube channel where you can watch as well as listen to each episode.